host
Dr. Gene Dorio.
on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our first guest this morning will be Arif Halaby of Total Financial Solutions, and he's with a client now, but he'll be here in a few minutes.
Great.
And also, later in the hour, we'll be speaking with Kim Wall, who's an alternative medicine advocate. So, how was the last 2 weeks for you?
Good. Yeah,
Good.
we were off last week because
That's
we
right.
had the 4th of July parade out here in front of the studios. Robin and I helped to decorate the Senior Center float, and float won first prize
Yes, it
for
did.
decoration and
Yes, it
for
did.
entry. As usual, we tried to get our seniors to help out and do a good job and reflect what the Senior Center is all about.
Yes, and they did, and there were quite a few of them who were riding in it too.
Yeah, we did Betsy Ross, and
Yes.
they honored the flag, and it was just a great fun event for all of us. But the weather, hot weather has set in, hasn't it, Barb? And we want to
Oh,
remind our seniors that this is the time of year in Santa Clarita uh, where you're going to become dehydrated, and seniors are way more susceptible than everybody else. And everybody else is susceptible also. When you get to 118 degrees, that's pretty high. And no matter, even if you're in an air conditioned home listening to this show right now, that doesn't mean that you won't get dehydrated.
no, that's very true. Very true. Well, we were sitting outside this morning for a little while.
Hmm.
I got the caregiver helped Russ get outside, and it was very pleasant
Hmm.
for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
And then the breeze stopped, and you could almost feel the humidity
Hmm.
in the air. And we decided, okay, time to go in.
Yeah.
No need taking another shower.
Well, we have to assure and make sure that our seniors, who are on quite a few medicines, we all know that, they need balance through these chemicals and medicines, and some of them are water pills, and you have to be real careful in what you watch for, and making sure that our seniors make it through the day. So stay hydrated. You have to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just keep a glass of water by your side at
Yeah.
all times.
Right.
And if you have the bottles, take the bottles with you, although plastic bottled water is not good,
Right.
or water in plastic bottles.
Right. And another thing, we should bring up is, Santa Clarita heroes. Here in Santa Clarita, we're all busy, we're all doing things, but more recently in the last few days, there have been individuals who, are trying to get through life and, having problems. And in the news, you've heard about the gentleman who was jumping off a bridge here in Santa Clarita, Whites
Mm-hmm.
Canyon Bridge, and
Mm-hmm.
he was trying. I think anybody in that situation who might harm themselves or try to commit suicide, that is, that's one of the endpoints of life that you're getting to, and it's you really don't want anyone to have that sense, that feeling that they have to commit suicide. But this gentleman was distraught, and he climbed over the barrier, the fence there, and a lady named Denise Mitchell stopped her car and talked to him and said, please get back over. And she, for those few seconds, she gave time enough for three other heroes to come along to also help him out. They put a
That's
rope
right.
around him and held him up till the fire department came. And these are, their names were Steve Mendez, Robert Santiago, and Jose Gutierrez. And I tell you, all four of them are real heroes, getting out and even possibly risking their own lives to help somebody else. Who does that? It's people who live here in Santa Clarita who do that. And I'm just proud to say that we have community people like that that we should in the long run honor them for what they do,
Absolutely.
because many people would not do that, but these four individuals stood out and said, we're not going to let somebody who's in such distress hurt themselves and take their life. And we will try to get the phone number for the suicide hotline that if we can. But for those who are listening, because seniors are, like the weather, they're still susceptible to dehydration, but also potential for suicide. And we want to put this out there. We need to talk about this. We can't hide it anymore. We have to make sure that all of us are aware, so that those who might be thinking about it and those who might be help others in the process will get them through those times.
I agree with you. And guess who just walked in?
Hello.
Hi, Arif.
Hey,
Arif
Arif.
Halaby of
Welcome.
Total Financial Solutions.
Our hero.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much. We had to put together a couple of things for you, and this is kind of an exciting thing because a senior client brought this in just last week, and I held it just for you.
Ooh.
Because here's what happened. They won the mega lottery for Powerball for Madrid, Spain.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
That's
Did they buy a real
incredible.
ticket?
Nope. This is all scams.
Oh, okay. I said, when did I buy that ticket? Oh, gee, I was in Madrid like 5 years
Spain?
ago.
Woohoo.
So you guys, I'm going to hold this up on the Facebook page, so I want you to be able to go through and take a look. But this is what it looks like. These are two different letters that are received, two different correspondents, and they both say, congratulations, you won the Mega Lotto. Dear sir, dear ma'am, please send us a check for the taxes, and we will send you your winnings of, in this particular case, the winnings here was, this one was
right.
40,
I
sorry,
think it's
4.5, there it is.
million pesos.
That's,
I think it's in dollars, but I'm just
$4.5
saying
million,
pesos.
it says. Is that not
And
exciting?
Wow,
what is the tax on that?
Well,
Does anybody say?
Nothing,
Yes.
because you're not getting anything.
No, that's true. But
So to
some
begin
people
your-
fall for that, though.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, do they? It's
You
not
really
uncommon.
do.
And to begin your claims, contact David Brown, the Foreign Service Manager of Goodwill Payment. And there's a phone number, and it's goodwillpayment@yahoo.com.
It says Dr.
Yeah, Dr.
Wait,
David
you're
Brown.
crossed out Dr. Jean Dorio.
Yeah,
and you put
that's
Dr.
right.
David Brown.
And of course, this is Dr. Alfredo Gomez. Do you see how they use the names doctors and there's a stamp on the bottom that says U.S. government approved.
Yes.
Got an official stamp.
Yeah,
on it.
as if that means anything.
Yeah,
right?
like a little
Uh-huh.
seal.
So
Seal of approval, it says. Wow.
But it's amazing the number of people who fall for that.
it's very common, and
It
it isn't that they're
really
dumb or
is.
bad. They have a picture of somebody with some. That'd be interesting to find out who these folks are. But a picture of somebody collecting
yeah.
a check, as if they're the winners at one point.
But the faces in the picture are so small.
Yes,
Plus the check is hiding part of their face.
that's right.
So,
Very unique how they kind of create their own little stories.
Yes.
So I want you to be very careful, because these things that are sent to you, once you get on the list, it's just like once you answer a survey.
You're
You
hooked.
are it. They
Yes.
put you as a checkbox next to your name,
You
and
targeted.
you are getting them. So I want our listeners to be very careful. Seniors, you guys are the primary target. Why?
Absolutely.
Simply because you're the ones with the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? The 25-year-old kid sleeping on his parents' garage floor. He doesn't have any money, so
Nope.
they're not going to try to scam him a whole lot. But the seniors, they're saying that, listen, you've worked hard for your life, and these scam artists in Nigeria and Spain and the Philippines, I mean, we see it all over the place. You're the one that's getting the ripoff here.
What's interesting, it was interesting because Monday, I got a phone call.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, you won?
Yes, I got
You
a
won
phone
again.
call, and they said, may we speak with Barbara? I said, this is she. And the gentleman said, congratulations. You just won $4 million.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
And I said, really? Do you want my address so you can send it to me? And he said, well, no, we have to do there are a few steps we have to go through
Yes.
before we can issue a check.
Of course.
And I said, okay. I said, I'm getting ready to sit down and eat my lunch. Will you give me a call later and let me know what those steps are? I said, thank you. Bye. I never got another
Of course
call.
not.
But
Sometimes
they happen all the time.
they do this for.
Every day.
I had a client who challenged these folks once. And they said to them, don't you have a mother? That was the first thing he said. Congratulations, you've won $1 million. He said, don't you have a mother? I said, excuse me? Do you have a mother? Yes. Well, yes, of course. Everybody has a mother. Would she not be ashamed of you that you've chosen to make a living by taking money from other people? Of course, the call, there was a little bit of feedback back and forth, but that's how these conversations need to go. It isn't that they have a conscience for shame, but here's a letter from Gloria Alves. Whenever an official letter comes to you, it should have the URL, which is the website. It should not have an email address of @AOL.com or gmail.com. That's always a sign that it's either not a very professional organization,
right,
which you don't want to work with them anyway, or it's a sign that there's a problem financially with them to not be able to maintain a website. Listen, you could still be a scam artist if you have, @megalottery.com. That still exists.
Mm-hmm.
The problem comes into play when you are trying to figure out how, if you will, to communicate with these people, because they can be anonymous. I can put, my email address is billgates@yahoo.com. I can put anything I want. It doesn't mean I'm that person.
That's right.
Yeah? So this, again, references Spain. I don't know why Spain tends to be in this particular person's, over the course of about 8 months, maybe about a year, I guess, received letters from October 2017, August 2017, and the date of this one is, we need your response by November 2018. So they have all of these, they kind of spread it out a little bit, but this says, I'm contacting you based on a financial opportunity I discovered here in our bank. It's about an abandoned sum of money, $26 million. Belongs to the late Desmond, Mr. Desmond, your last name. And the last name is the same as the client. So what they try to say is, listen, this particular, so they just fill that number in, fill that in. They're saying that this was one of your long-lost relatives. That's their little trick.
Mm-hmm. How long ago did I lose him?
Yeah, that's right.
And where did he live?
Well, let's see. This particular guy happened to be on my birthday.
Oh.
On March 11, in a ghastly, it even says the word ghastly car accident in Portugal. Our banking policy is only to release such funds to the benefactor through an application. That means your social security number, your birth date.
Right.
Right. Now you're an identity theft victim. I have done my own research with the help of a private investigator, and your name is the one that is basically going to receive this money. Folks, listen, everybody wants to be a winner. We all do. But be very careful, because part of the tricks of these folks is simple. Their job is to take your money.
That's right.
It isn't to go out and earn it. Now, one of the weird things is we've had twice in the last 5 years, clients received a phone call that says, hey, you are they received a letter in the mail and then a phone call that you're the beneficiary of somebody who passed away in the Midwest. And they both were correct. So one was a 27, 28-year-old young woman who received money from a great uncle that she met once when she was a little girl back in the early 90s. And so she actually did receive, a healthy 6-figure salary. So it can happen.
Yes, it can.
You get the knock on the door. But part of the trick here, guys, is you do your research. You don't give up any information until you find out whether or not it's accurate.
And 98% of the time it is not accurate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, the whole thing about this is something you're taught when you're young, that you can't get something for nothing.
That's right.
And, we all get an education, we all find a job, we all try to work toward, our savings and, a retirement. But if you really believe that somebody's going to all of a sudden turn around and augment your nest egg, it's not happening.
Yeah,
and you just cannot go with that thought that that's going to happen. It's really 99.99% that it's not going to happen.
Warren Buffett had a great saying. He said, the one thing that determines your wealth, It's not the stock you pick. A lot of people would say, "Oh my gosh, what's Warren Buffett?" He said the number one thing that determines your wealth is the spouse you choose. Good habits, bad habits, a decent human being, an indecent human being.
That's very true.
Yep.
And the second was the
Very
career that you chose, and the third was your financial habits.
And how about common sense?
Yeah, it has a name because it's not so common, right?
Right. There you go.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks forget that there isn't a financial person. Listen, folks, I own Total Financial Solutions. Our job is to protect your wealth and to grow it reasonably over time, to get reasonable rates of return, somewhere between 0 and 10 and 0 and 12%. We're not going to get home runs. If any financial professional tells you that their job is to make you wealthy or to help you become wealthy, you need to run. Because they're going to, why are they still working? If they know how to make people wealthy, pick the right stock, Facebook for $1 a share and sell it for 1,000, whatever, what are they doing? Right? The job should be to earn reasonable rates of return and protect your wealth.
Absolutely.
Protect is your key word also.
Yeah, we see
because certainly if we're talking about a return of higher than what you're saying, you're also talking about higher risk. And when you put a lot of money out there and you lose it all, then you're really going to be in trouble. You don't want to dare chance that, and you have to protect yourself.
That's exactly right. You're going to see that there's a lot of fear that's used in these scams, and even greed that's used in some of the unscrupulous financial professionals. Right? Try to sell you on something that's going to double or triple in the next 90 days. We saw that with the Ponzi scheme named Woodbridge. I think I brought it up on the show before.
Yes, you did.
At $1.5 billion, I think was the number, $1.5 billion. And about a year ago, when the SEC declared it a Ponzi scheme, and then they had to file bankruptcy, and it was a big deal, we were seeing financial professionals put their clients in this account. Look, you can do the math. It's not a difficult thing to figure out that it's a scam. Right? If they're going to promise you a 5 or 6% rate of return for 9 months, you have to ask yourself, they've got to make a profit. The broker or agent has to make a profit. So what's the actual interest rate, 10 or 12 or 15? So you tell me who's going to give you 10 or 12 or 15%. It's usually very high risk.
Not anymore. It might have happened several years ago, but not anymore.
Yes, that's right.
Not the way the system is set up. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So
horrible.
I know. And, we had a short amount of time with you this time. This time, get rid of your client.
That's right. No, don't do that.
No, don't do that. But anyway, thanks, Arif.
You guys, welcome. Thank you for having me.
How can we reach you if necessary?
Give us a call at 888-99-RETIRE.
888-99-RETIRE.
99-RETIRE.
Retire. And what are those numbers?
888-997-3847.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Simple
million,
and easy.
Arif.
You're
We'll
welcome.
see you
Thanks,
next
guys.
time around.
See you next time.
Okay. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Aloha, friends! Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
Step into a hot shower or slip on a warm t-shirt fresh from the dryer, and you can feel the comfort natural gas gives us every day. For over 100 years, Southern California Gas Company has provided safe, reliable natural gas service. It warms our homes, powers cleaner vehicles, and cooks our food at a fraction of the cost of other energy sources with less environmental impact, today and for decades to come. Natural gas, part of the clean energy solution. Learn more at SoCalGas.com. Search solution.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM-1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station KHTS. We're talking with Kim Wall now.
You are?
Yes,
are
we,
you sure?
We certainly are.
I think so.
Is it the real deal? Hi, guys.
And we're, you know, every time, Kim, you are on, we have something different, something new, something creative, something ideal to help our seniors.
You bet. And today, my focus is going to be about hydration.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
We were talking about it at the first of the show.
Right? How critical it is that most people are actually dehydrated. And I wanted to talk about the whole dynamics of hydration in the body. But there's a product that I use, and, you know, I want people to know when I talk about products, I don't get money from any of these companies. These are companies I've used with my family for over 35 years. So these are products that I've tried and true and used, and I've gotten such good results, and they're so simple. That's why I like to share them with people, because it's not expensive, it's easy to do, and Cell Food, which happens to be one of my, if you only did one thing, Cell Food would be one of those things to do. Because Cell Food is a oxygenation product that's used to help the cells detoxify and function properly. And what it is it's a negatively ionized liquid substance, and it comes with trace minerals, amino acids, and enzymes, all the key essentials for our body. When we eat food and our body digests it and breaks it down in our small intestines, absorb those nutrients into our blood, those foods, those molecules, those very small molecules, come in and help the body detoxify, heal, and repair. Well, what Cell Food is it's so simple. It's a liquid that you put in your water and you drink it. You can do it 3 times a day. If you had a senior that wasn't eating properly, I do the Cell Food because I eat well. But if, let's say you had a senior that wasn't eating well, the Cell Food also makes one that comes with a vitamin minerals in it as well. And because it's colloidal, the molecules are very small and they're negatively charged. Well, your blood and your lymph system is also negatively charged. So when you drink that substance in the water, it gets into your cells, into your blood right away, and starts the body to help to produce actual oxygen in the blood for about 8 to 10 hours after consuming it. Again, not only the dehydration, but a lot of seniors have oxygen deprivation in their blood if you were to look at their blood oxygen levels. So here's something that can hydrate the body, but can also help with the oxygen in the system as well. And it's really interesting because I went off the website because, you know, you got to have the scientific terminology. But it was talking about the substance that's in it is actually a ionic property of hydrogen. And that's what they suspend all the minerals in. So when you drink that, because it's negatively charged, free radicals, which cause cellular damage, DNA damage, are positively charged. So that positively charged oxygen free radical that wants to go around and steal molecules from other things to damage them, now we have a negatively charged oxygen molecule that's going to get in there and neutralize it, which just is a water byproduct. Very easy to eliminate. So it's not going to stress the kidneys. It's not going to stress the colon, because sometimes if our seniors are taking medications and other things, those systems already might be stressed. So taking something in a big dose or a mega dose might be really hard for them to digest. So with Cell Food, what's nice is it has the trace minerals, which the trace minerals we would used to get in our well water when we drank well water. We would also get it in our fruits and vegetables from the earth. So that plant is breaking down that calcium in the earth, the iron in the earth, bringing it up in the plant, and then we consume that. Well, we know a lot of our land is depleted. It doesn't have the minerals in it. All our water is filtered. It's treated. It doesn't have those minerals. So those minerals on a cellular level help all our nerves and all our cells talk to each other. So one of the things cell food does is it helps with energy. It helps with brain function. It helps the body detox.
That makes sense.
Exactly. So
Makes
even on a
absolute
cellular
sense,
level, like
yes.
an athlete who's working out, we know they do amino acids and things like that to keep their stamina up and to keep their muscles to recuperate. Well, here if we have a senior that maybe might not be eating well, maybe not breaking down their proteins really well, in this formulation with the enzymes, and it has amino acids in it, which is that end chain, you're getting that raw basic cells to help the body just do basic function. But the key is hydration, because if we don't have those little minerals in there, we're not going to be absorbing that water, because water, again, you can look in the hype right now is the hydrogen water, which is super awesome, don't get me wrong, pH, alkaline water, all these little things. Well, again, don't get caught in the hype. Alkaline water, I can take reverse osmosis water, which water that's been stripped of everything in it that's alive. That water is dead, and it's very, very acidic if you were to test it on a pH scale. I can take something like this and put it into that water and bring that pH up so that's an actually neutral good water to drink. Because if we're doing an acid water like reverse osmosis, that can be really leaching, because our body's going to want to pull minerals and try to balance that out. We want to make sure with that water going in, our cells are going to take it in and hydrate it, but not only hydrate our cells, again with the negative, positive free radicals going on, pull those toxins out, pull that damage out so the body can eliminate it, and anti-aging at its cellular level. Because that's what we want, you know? Sure. You want the cells to be able to rejuvenate. But a lot of times, and it's interesting because to focus on it, what do a lot of seniors drink? A lot of them drink coffee and tea, which are both diuretics. And not even to mention the chemicals on that. So again, we have to realize our body is 70% water. We need to make sure that we're putting good water in to filter it out. But also, we don't want to stress the kidneys and we don't want to stress the system. So by having something that's going in that's working on a very small molecular level, and like I said, with the water being the byproduct, it's going to flush those minerals and those toxins out of the kidneys and stuff. And we want that, because if we're only doing things that are diuretics, we're stressing the system without putting water in. So where's the water coming from? We're going to have to steal it from cells. So we want to make sure we drink that water to begin with, because a lot of times, even in food and eating, sometimes people think they're hungry and really they're just dehydrated. If they would drink some water, usually that's all their body needs, because they're not really hungry. They're dehydrated. And it's not about, oh, I got to drink 900 gallons of water a day. It's about quality of water you drink. So if you're going to get up in the morning, let's say you have a good cup of tea and you're putting in it some herbs in it and stuff like that, that's awesome, as long as it's not a black tea, which is a diuretic. So you can, again, your tea can be beneficial. You know, you can make certain foods that are more rich in the rawness, so they're going to have more water nutrient to it, your raw vegetables as opposed to cooked. But with the enzymes in this formulation, it's going to help those seniors also break down what they're eating. So you can drink this the cell food with a meal. You could drink it on an empty stomach anytime of the day you wanted to do it. If you were going to go out and run around, I always have it in a bottle of water when I'm out running around. I even use it with my granddaughter. Why? Because I know how important those trace minerals are for cell function. And that's what it comes down to. No matter how we slice it, how we dice it, what we bring to the table, we just want to make sure those cells know what to do, how to function, how to shut off, how to detox. Because when one of those avenues goes awry, then that's when we have disease prevalent in the body. And with our seniors sometimes.
Well, it makes you more susceptible.
It does.
To disease.
And a lot of times, like I said, doctors don't, I mean, it's not a test you do. People don't really look at that. But a lot of times these seniors have very, very poor water consumption. And again, it's like anything, it's about hydration. You're hydrating from the inside out. I'm drinking so much water, but it doesn't seem to be doing much. Well, then maybe you need to look at your oils that you're consuming. Because again, your fats and your oils, again, help to balance that body out. So it's about looking at a whole person.
Yeah, it is. You know, and thinking about all of those young boys in the cave, that, you know, they must have been going through incredible experiences. I mean, drinking water
They were licking the water from the
Yes.
top of the cave, yes.
Yes.
And probably the thing that was to their benefit was it was probably very rich in minerals on that sense to do. But again, and I have to say to that same comment, the power of prayer. You know, you gotta put a shout out to God, man. That was when you hear the whole story of how it all went down. You know, good Lord was there to that last moment, and when that last kid was out, you know, all hell, pardon my French, all hell broke loose. And I'm sorry, but praise God and all of that. But again, it shows you how resourceful the body is with something as simple as just that water.
Yes.
That, you know, to keep that sustainable. And yeah, they all lost weight and did, but if they didn't have that water source, if they only had that saltwater source, they probably would not have been in as good a shape. So,
No, that's
you know, like
very
I said,
true.
it's amazing the resourcefulness of the human body when it's given just the most basic nutrients.
Well, and I just
And limited at that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, though, you know, when we hear the full story, you have to ask the question, as well as the water and no nutrients other than what they may have brought in with them and their
Yeah, they did
their
have
hike.
snacks, yeah.
But what about the oxygen?
Mm-hmm.
One of their rescuers passed away because
know.
he ran out of oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
and you know those caves have no source for oxygen. How did they
Right.
survive in that tunnel? Was there oxygen coming from the other end and getting through somehow, some way?
I
It
think
must
they're-
have been.
Either
And
that
must
too, and they
have
were
been.
athletes. They were young kids. They were athletes. You know, their body. I mean, me or you, probably not. But you know, they had that advantage. And like I said, in situations like that, that's just straight out miracle. Because if you look at
It
the
is.
tunnel and everything, the people,
is.
that's straight out miracle. So you know, all I can say to that is praise to God. So you know, but the thing that it makes me realize is how perfect our bodies are. But we don't respect it as a machine, as a temple. It's something that we take it for granted that we breathe, that our heart's going to beat when it needs to do, and that our kidneys are going to do it. We so take it for granted.
And that we get up and walk and do all kinds of things. And
But
then
then
if-
we
if some
don't
of the-
walk, and we
if
use
some of-
computers, and we don't exercise, and we eat poorly, and
Then
we
that
abuse
system-
the
yep.
temple.
And then that system starts to fail, and the cells forget what to do, and
And
then
you
we're
ask
not
why.
detox. Exactly. And you know,
For
you
me,
look
it's
at
easy to tell my patients this is why.
Exact-
That steak dinner with your mashed potatoes last night did it to you.
Well, if you were an O blood type, you could have a very small piece of grass-fed beef with some hydrochloric acid to help you digest it, but I'd skip the potatoes and maybe do some veggies. But again, it's looking at the sources of what we do. We've been unfortunately, and it was funny because I was listening to somebody talk about it today about stretching. Like, do you know how to stretch, or do you stretch like your 8th grade gym teacher taught you how to stretch? You know, we've come a long way in stretching, and again, it's like anything. It's we need to progress with that. And yeah, I've learned with my whole back experience, I'm been given some exercises by a therapist, which I gotta say, I've got a whole new respect for the medical industry, and there are gifted and talented people out there. But these silly little exercises, you think, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? Those work those little muscles that work this muscle, that keep this in alignment. And again, so if you've got that person that's got the weak knees or the core's gone, then all of a sudden all these other little things, like she said, it's like you're at a wobble there. You start, things start to go. And it doesn't have to be go to the gym. That's what blew me away. I'm doing these very small, very breathing and concentrating on as I do it. And I told her in the beginning, I said, these are ridiculous. And then I came back the next week. She says, how do you feel? I said, I'm so sore. Because we all think big muscle,
Yeah.
We think that, but with aging, and it was awesome to see the one day I was there was a gentleman in the facility teaching an elderly person, and I'm going to say elderly meaning like, I think she was probably in her late 80s, who had a stroke. They were doing Tai Chi. And I said, how awesome you guys incorporate Tai Chi into your programs. She says, we find it helps prevent falls in elderly people. So if we teach them Tai Chi, it works so much on centering and balancing and breathing that it's preventing falls. That's the beauty of integrating what Western medicine is with what Eastern medicine was. We know these things. And I said, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to ask her that. She says, well, for you, Pilates would be better than yoga or Tai Chi because of what you're working on strengthening. And that's how it is. Ask your doctor. If your doctor doesn't know, say to your doctors, a lot of these people have this insurance, I would like to go see a therapist. Just why? And I told him, I want to see a therapist for one reason. I want to make sure what I'm doing to my body is appropriate and not inappropriate. Because I can go onto the TV or onto the YouTube or onto this, and it says, oh, look, this is the best exercise program for everybody. But that's not necessarily the case. Exactly.
You're absolutely right.
So with our seniors, if you have somebody that has this issue or that issue, we would want to focus on things for that, and core strength being so critical because, again, preventing falls, because we know hip fractures and broken bones and things like that can totally change the quality of somebody's life, if not kill them.
Oh, absolutely.
So, take advantage of those people that are around you when you're seeing that doctor. Hey, what can I do, doc? Hey, you know what? Let's go look into this. Because little things like movement, hydration, good protein in food, that's going to keep that motor running, so you're not going to worry about passing out.
And stay away from the mashed potatoes.
Well, I don't have a problem with mashed potatoes. Like I said, everything in
but
moderation. Come on.
They're full of sugar.
They are. But everything in moderation. And if we get stuck in the box that says you can't, it does weird things to people's brains. It really does weird things to people's brains. I have my new little one. My eldest daughter has a new boyfriend. We're so excited about, and he's been hanging out at the house and listening to the voodoo going on and stuff. And come to find out his blood type. And so he was like, "Wow, this is very interesting. I always wondered why I had such digestive problems and this with these certain foods that aren't right for my blood type." So here's this young man in his almost 40. Having a whole new awakening of what he's sticking in his mouth. And he says to me, "But I thought these things were good. I saw my dad eat this." Well, your dad's an O and you're an A. So if you did that, it does give me nausea. It makes that's why. So if you switch to this, and it's little switches, and that's the simplicity of what the body is. If we just have, don't look at it in the, I've got to, I got to run 8 miles and I got to do this. If you run and you like to run, great. If you don't, then find something you enjoy. But respect when the body says, "I'm hungry." Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat because, you eat 7 meals a day. Eat when you're hungry. And eat good food when you're hungry. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. No matter what you do in life, it's quality. Exercise is great, but exercise can be bad. It's about the quality in which you do that. And, like the lady showed me when I first started doing it, she says, no, what you're doing is all wrong. Your back is swayed. Your hips are out. You're not exercising the muscles you need to be exercising. You need to stop and concentrate and focus. And you know what? For me as a go-go person, that was a little hard to do. And she even said to me, "I want you to start before you ever do this. I want you to sit down and just meditate. Just breathe. Just sit down and simply breathe. Clear your mind and then focus on what you're doing." Even a senior that's stuck in a chair or in a bed can very simply have that. Clear the mind, breathe, and just do little teeny tiny things to keep that core strong so that quality, to be able to get up out of bed, to be able to have bowel function, and the things that keep quality of life important.
Well, it's interesting because one of our caregivers was pushing Russ because he was too wobbly yesterday. So she sat him down in his walker and pushed him. And she said, "Wait a minute." And she did certain movements and stretches. And she said, "Okay, now let's go."
And how, right? But it's like, okay, you go from a dead stop to jump up and do. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And my daughter, who's a massage therapist, a lot of times she'll say the same thing to me. So many times, a lot of people's pain that they feel would be alleviated if they just did simple stretches. And you can actually, it's one of those things you can Google and look up and even ask. There's even stretches you can do laying in bed. So, exactly.
I know, before I get out of the bed,
before you even start.
And I do my stretches. My leg ups and sideways and my arms.
Couple
and
deep breaths, get everything, get the blood circulating and getting up. It's just the same thing.
Because if I don't do that and I all of a sudden, get out of bed, woo, I'm on the floor.
It's the same thing with a car, or a vehicle or a horse or anything. You wouldn't jump in something and go full. You would get in and use the tool appropriately.
That's
and
exactly
our body
right.
is what's going to get us through our life, and we want to make sure it's going to run at the speed we want it to run.
Exactly.
How frustrating.
Interestingly enough, in the hospital with my patients, when they're bedridden because they've been ill, I have them do, as they're starting, we're just seeing the little bit of recovery, I start them doing bed exercises, just so that they're not just popping right up and then having problems because of that.
It doesn't work anymore.
And it's crazy how much atrophy can happen in a bed
so quickly.
So that blew me away so
within
fast.
24 hours.
It's amazing.
You're laying there for 24 hours, you're done.
Yeah,
that's right.
Even if you're 20 years old or 40 years old or 90 years old, doesn't
really
matter.
crazy.
That's why the caregivers get Russ up out of that chair. So anyway, I think we need to take a break, don't we? Old eagle eye over there.
Now he's going to brush us off.
Absolutely. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Looking for a fun day with the kids? Visit Ice Station Valencia. With 3 rinks, Ice Station offers every type of skating program imaginable, from ice hockey and figure skating to public skating sessions every day. Ice Station is a great place to bring a group, so ask about our special group rates. Our glass enclosed restaurant, The Grill, offers a scrumptious array of tasty snacks and entrees. For info, call 775-8686 or skate to the net, www.icestation.net. Ice Station Valencia, right across the street from Valencia High School.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
The minute I open my door,
Debbie Morris has a problem.
I say, oh my gosh.
A really big problem.
The dog, the cat, my 3-year-old.
Debbie's house is a mess.
How can one family create this disaster?
Debbie needs Made for You.
I need help.
Professional, residential, and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking with that knowledgeable Kim Wall.
Hello.
Hello.
Still here.
You're still here. And you're still alive and
I'm
kicking.
still kicking,
and
babe.
Stretching. Absolutely.
The next 60 years of my life are going to be phenomenal. That's what I'm going to claim right there. Because you know what? There's no sense in having longevity if you don't have quality of life.
Absolutely.
And I think it's sad how much of our life is we've been convinced the other. It's quantity. Well, what does it matter if you live to be 100 if you don't know your name and you got somebody changing your diaper? You know, my grandma lived to be 100, and she was giving those people grief the whole, I don't want to do this, and I don't need that, because,
Absolutely.
You know, that spirit was alive. And part of that, and it was really interesting, I have a young man who's in from North Carolina, Brian Ransom, and he's been helping us get ready for the wedding at our house, and we were talking this morning about how much just in a relationship, being able to talk things through with somebody, just to be able to dump the mental garbage sometimes is so therapeutic, and we don't realize sometimes when seniors get isolated like that, you know, that simple little like, hey, how you doing? Or, you know, how's this? And not judging or have an answer, just listening. Because you ever notice when you're talking to people sometimes, they don't listen?
No.
They're coming back with their answer or their conclusion, or instead of just listening and going, wow, I feel what you're feeling. Man, I don't know how.
That doesn't happen very often.
Because this is just as important to keep well as all the other systems in the body. And unfortunately, as we become older, we do become more isolated unless you have a community center.
I have anything to
Me
do
neither.
with.
Me neither, Barb. And you know what? I don't care if my kids in their 30s and 40s don't like it. I'm hanging out with them. I hang out with this little short person over here. You know what? You find what you love. You know, you find something, no matter what it is. And if we lose that, like you were saying, Dr. Dorio, we become stagnant in our body and in our mind. And with stagnation becomes decay.
That's exactly right.
And our society, unfortunately, doesn't encourage us to stimulate and to do it. You know, it's encouraging through isolation that degeneration, and unfortunately the doctors are very busy,
and that's by choice, though. Unfortunately, I think that, you know, they might be I think they've isolated themselves because of the system that is out there. And, you know, we can sit for the next hour and talk about the healthcare system.
Yeah,
we all have our opinions on that. But listening is key. And when you have somebody in front of you that is looking at a computer, typing things down, you know, maybe asking you questions, but you know they're not listening, you know, your visit to the doctor is going to be detrimental to you.
And it's funny because I know with me going into that realm, like I told the doctor when I got there, last time I sat in a doctor's office and went through all this was 30 years ago when I had my last child. So this is a whole new experience for me. But I will say that some of the doctors that I saw did not want to hear my journey here. They kept telling me, oh no, oh no, oh no. No, you don't understand. This is my journey here. Now, I'm taking ownership. Yes, this is an injury of 40 years I didn't know I had. Now I have this moment in my life to either strengthen my body or I'm going to end up in a surgical, not good place, and I don't want that. But it was so interesting. Some of my doctors, yes. And one of my therapists, when I was working, and I had a little emotional breakdown on the table as she was working with me. And she says to me, "Are you okay? Are you in pain, Kim?" And I said, "No." I said, "I don't know how much you know or how you believe in energetic healing." I said, "But when I went through what I'm going through right now, 40 years ago, was a very bad time in my life. I had a lot of trauma. I had a lot of heartache. I had a lot of hurt. And that trauma and hurt was in there like a ball of old trash. Now we've cracked it open, and as I'm exercising and feeling this pain and breathing this out, these tears, I don't know what these tears are, but I'm letting these tears out because I've held these tears for 40 years. I don't want to hold that. And it's crazy when I know when I went to homeopathic school, we heard stories of people that were in an accident and 25 years later had arthritis or a pain or an issue with no physical reason why other than they were in this accident and that emotional trauma, which I've seen cleared with homeopathy, and now that person's whole. So here I am with this muscular joint thing going on, and I'm taking remedies for guilt and grief, and I'm feeling better.
That's right.
Because it wasn't as much. It is physical. There's weakness. Like I told you, I was shocked at how fast you can atrophy. I was blown away. But the emotional part, and that's where I, being a homeopath in my passion, or as I tell people, I'm a body mechanic. I look at that aspect. That's a part of it. If I look at that emotional and I release it, you know, what is depression? What is anxiety? What are these things? What are the triggers behind those? A lot of people believe the triggers behind those are emotional traumas. So,
very true.
And a lot of them are very old. I was reading an article about somebody that had a trauma as a child, and by the time she got to this therapist 40 years later and was working through it, and she went, "Oh my gosh!" And when she said it, she says it was like somebody took a chain off her neck. You know, because you know we especially women. We bury it, man. We got to go. We got to keep the family going. We got to take care of everybody, man. Everybody's got the balls in the air, except for us.
That's very true. Very true.
But for anybody out there, why too with the cell food, and why I want to just finish with that real quick. It's very inexpensive. It's literally $1 a serving, and when you first start to use it, don't start with 8 drops 3 times a day. Start with half of that, and work up to the 8 drops a day because it can give you a little detox. Like I said, it's a wonderful product on so many levels. And the oxygenation of the blood, oh, I can't tell you how many people I've seen on oxygen meters on their finger use the product and watch it go up. Pretty powerful. Even if they're doing oxygen, yes, because on that cellular level, they didn't have the right material to get that oxygen to.
So where do we find?
They can get it at any of their local. You can get it at any of your healthful local stores. I believe even Sprouts carries it. So Vitamin Shop might. There's a bunch of different ones. If not, there's actually a number for the company. You can go cellfood.com, and it's CELLFOOD.com. CELLFOOD.com. And they do have a number. It's 1-800-749-9196. And the company that manufactures is called Luna Health Products. And they make a topical for your skin for healing. So if you have a senior with a wound that's not healing well, again, they have a topical gel as well as the internal liquids.
Now, that was 1-800-749-9196.
You got it, Barb. See how sharp that brain is, Barb?
Yes.
And if people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me at educator@kingbio.com, or my cell is 818-683-4876.
Kim Wall, always different levels of information that you've given us, and once again, you've achieved that. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Like I said, it's about making sure somebody's giving us the truth.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kim.
My pleasure.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.
Very good. Very